Hello, hello. This is very loud music. This is the Poetry Studio, starting on time. My name is Joseph, and kind of starting on time. We had a little bit of a timer there hanging over. I do not believe that the theme is going to remain the same for today. I have my poems. Actually, here we go. We're going to change our theme real quickly. There we go. New theme. And welcome. So this is exciting. It's a new week, which means we're featuring a new poet. And we are also going to be writing some poems for a wonderful couple that was going to be, I was going to be doing a wedding for, but no longer doing a wedding for because of new COVID restrictions. Hearts, thoughts, prayers go out to everybody or anybody that might be dealing with COVID at this point. There seems to be an upswing in cases according to the recent news. So we continue to stream here. Poetry continues to happen regardless of what's happening out there and outside. My name is Joseph, and this is the Poetry Studio. As we always do, we get started with a poem first thing in the morning. The poem that we are going to start with today is a poem tucked into a video, which happens to be a wonderful video introducing our next poet, Kornel Kossuth, who is the poetry busker in South Bank, London. So he has done some amazing work. He actually did a special commission poem for my wife and I. So I'm really excited to show that to you guys. And I will shift over to that video so that you guys can check out and see this wonderful new poet. We will be reading his poems all week. His style definitely is very classic, and I love the very familiar nature of his rhyme schemes. And when it comes to themes, he's amazing. He can touch on those deep, meaningful, and personable moments. So let us shift over to that channel. But before I do that, music has to be turned down. Otherwise, we will be in a problem. Well, actually, because it's a desktop audio, we would put it here. This is when balancing out all those different things. It's crazy. Oh, where'd it go? Oh goodness, we had an issue. It just closed on me. I didn't close it. Hold on a second. Sometimes the wonders of technology going haywire. Alrighty. Hold on while we try to get this sorted out. All right. So I do believe we are ready to go. Sorry for that, for the confusion there.
I busk on the South Bank in London and write poems on the spot for passers-by. They give me a subject and I then write a poem based around that. The poem can be about anything, but popular themes seem to be about life and special moments, falling head over heels in love, or simply groups of friends that want to commemorate a day out together. A woman came to me and she told me that she'd met her husband while they were both flying to the Isle of Man. The aeroplane was caught in fog, it couldn't take off, and so there they were sitting. They got into a conversation. They just realised that they worked together. So she wanted a poem about that moment. Head over heels. Time moves strangely, sometimes drawn out sluggishly with pointless drudgery, not even waiting for anything to happen, like an airplane caught in fog, going nowhere, the passengers consigned to the boredom of waiting lounges. Other times, like the opening of Christmas presents, time tumbles like a juggler, drags you with it, cartwheeling head over heels, and time is breathlessly too short as you lose your breath in a new beat, a heart to which yours now keeps time. The poetry, I guess, is just wonderful. There's a lot of feeling in there, and it's also very personal, and it's a great way to share the great moments in life.
I love this. I'm going to send it to my dad. We were just walking along and it was capturing life's moments. I love it through poetry. Yeah, great. How different and how unique.
And there we go. That was definitely, I love the images that he used about time when it came to those two lovers meeting on the plane. Really cool image to be able to show about how bringing people together in a moment makes time kind of just totally change around you, and alters what your vision of the world becomes. We have Twitcher Alex and Steve Disco Newsome are in the chat. How you doing, guys? Really good to see you guys. Keep on working and lurking, Twitcher Alex and Disco. It is so good to see you guys again. We were just introducing and celebrating our new Poet of the Week, which is a new thing I've been doing, where I've been sharing new poets each week. Currently, they've been all poets that are alive, though really anybody is fair game here. If you watch the channel enough, I think you could use channel points to be able to choose a specific poet. And today we were profiling the Poetry Busker, who is on South Bank and is a more well-known street poet than I in London South Bank. So really great poet, and if you're ever in London, Disco, you should definitely check him out. He works with an old Remington typewriter. So we have today's theme. So the themes, again, also are things that I've been kind of trying to gear around what I have to do, but also might be what's going on. And just as a way that if people wanted to chat, it's a good way to stimulate the chat. And today's theme is planners. What do you mean by planners? Well, I mean by people who plan, people who set things up, people who try to arrange and rearrange schedules. This week I have a lot of poems that I'm going to be writing for a couple who I was going to be doing a wedding for, but unfortunately due to the coronavirus, they were unable to continue with their wedding as it was planned for next weekend. It's not really because of the disease, it's because of the government's orders and all that. So they took the deposit and they were like, well, you know what, we'll have you write some poems based on that deposit. And I thought that was a really nice thing. And I looked, and it's all about all poems for people that are helping make the wedding possible. I guess a lot of these people have continued to stay on for what will be a future wedding, or just like me have, had something that was planned and was going to be doing something and then just ended up falling through. So it is really nice to be able to help celebrate those individuals. So we will be writing for some planners and managers and people that are that were part of the process here. So yeah. and we'll get started on that in a little while. But if there's anything that kind of comes to your heart or to your mind when it comes to planning life, I know that one of the biggest things I've talked about on this stream is that you the greatest plans of mice and men, end up falling apart so easily. Why am I out of paper? Oh, I know why I'm out of paper. Because my paper's not in here. Goodness gracious, we need to cut more paper. So suddenly too, without any sort of warning. Make a mental note that I need to make a "We'll be right back" screen so you don't see me get up to go find paper. But I need to go get some paper. And I'm back. Paper. So, these are one-shot poems, meaning that there is going to be no draft on these. So I'll be able to simply write them straight, and we'll, have them composed. There's going to be 9 of them total, all that I'm going to be working for towards Thursday, which is pretty exciting. What isn't exciting, talking about planning in life, is how it seems like whenever I do a thing, like a single thing, it takes up my day, and all the other little maintenance things that I gotta do, getting together my emails, making sure I respond to messages, even planning other things, all those things seem to just totally fall by the wayside. It's pretty crazy. And if you are just tuning in and you do have a poem you'd like to request, I still do take requests here on the stream. But this is for the operations manager at the place where they were going to be having the wedding, which happens to also be a relative of one of the individuals at the wedding. And so family is the concept for this poem, as he has been so helpful during their whole wedding planning process. Helpful people. That could have been a good theme for the stream as well. Helpful people. Makes me think a lot about generosity. Makes me think a lot about seeing something and just wanting it to blossom in someone else. I like helpful people, and helpful people is a theme. Let me do a real quick research. And just to show what this place looks like where they were going to get married, it's a very picturesque place. Let's see if this works this time. Did it work? All right, here we go. There you go. You can see, look at that. Look at that mountain and meadow. This is what everything around me looks like. You wonder why I'm such an easygoing poet. It's because the picturesque nature of it all is just, look at this. Everything. The farmlands, the meadows. I recently took a picture of me doing my, I don't want you guys to see my email. Recently took a picture of myself in it's sitting on the front porch of a place where we were having a wedding show, and I just put a caption "My office" underneath. It was really nice to be able to just be in a place where you can do that. Let me adjust the lights and let's get started on this poem. Oh, that's the one we want. There we go. Of course, if I write something that the bride-to-be thinks is utterly not her style, then I'm more than welcome to do a redo on a poem. It's just more that I would not. This is not going to start out as an edited poem, and those usually take longer anyway. So this is going to get done real quick. I think I forgot to put the music on, and I just realized it at the same time that Twitcher Alex did mention it. So let us bring back our music. Ooh, this one's good. We have some new music in the loop because I had forgotten to put a bunch of albums in. Oh, too loud, too loud. Better. There we go. Hello, hello, Fitzinated, fellow typewriter user, well, typewriter pitcherer, and it's so good to have you in the chat in the stream. Writing a poem for a wedding planner on a family member planner on this 1949 Royal QDL. Quiet Deluxe. Of course. See a better picture of it right there. Yeah, I'm working on, so I had a wedding planned where I was going to be doing poetry at the wedding, and then it fell through, so I have some poems for the bride and groom. Indeed, he is. Tombstone Key. So this was a typewriter that was designed by some special architect, and last name of Dreyfus. I don't know anything about the architect, but apparently it's a big deal that the architect designed it. But these Tombstone Keys are pretty well known, and then the spacebar disappears into the frame of the typewriter. Yeah, this thing is a real smooth. Like, this was one of my my fourth or fifth typewriter that I bought. Real smooth machine. And I just got to figure out how to end this poem. I seem to have put myself into a corner here. I need to make sure the payoff works. Do you compose your poems on the typewriter itself, or is there a draft ahead of time? Well, let me get my audio down because we're going to be doing a perfect timing too. We're going to be doing a reading of this poem. So, no. Well, it depends on the poems. So I tend to write two types of poems. Sorry, I always get self-conscious about my hair on the stream, even though it's under my hat. I always notice my hair, and I welcome the distraction. I love having the chat and having people talk, and I just been so busy. I haven't been able to check out as many of the other Twitch streamers as I want to as well. So it all depends. Sometimes I draft the poems ahead of time, not off the stream usually, but on the stream. So like this, if this were a drafted poem, Twitcher Alex says, distract. Distractions are welcome, because distractions also create new opportunities to discuss new ideas. It's like a big pinball machine of ideas. If you live in there, then you never actually put other ideas into action. But you bang around a couple of concepts, and suddenly you have insight, which is I'm really into the Awakening the Meaning Crisis podcast. I digress. Do you compose the poems on the typewriter itself? Yes. So I rarely ever draft the poems on the computer. I rarely ever draft the poems off the typewriter. It's what my process is for drafting is rewrite. So I will write, edit, rewrite from the start, write, edit, rewrite from the start, which is tending why I tend to stay with poetry and not novels. If I were rewriting novels, it would be literal months of work. I haven't, and yet people do that. It is a common thing. I actually have a novel that one day I do want to rewrite, though I don't know if it will ever actually be published. But and then so the drafts usually come from the typewriter, but sometimes the drafts come from the typewriter, and then I have them ahead of time on the stream. This was completely off the head, and this poem is in the family. So a celebration of an operations manager at the venue which happens to be a relative of the bridegroom, in the family. They know you best, aunts and uncles and relatives, who saw you stumble as children through life and love, now setting the tables for wedding banquets, seeing their own selves in youthful eyes as they delve into the details. Consider temperaments with kindness as constellations of seating charts fill your starry eyes. Keep this secret in the family. Benevolence in the blood. A planner planning how his love will be in wedded hearts enshrined. He looks out onto the fall fields, readying for the pandemic of frost, but knows the familial hearth is burning warm, grateful, endless stars guiding each other's journey. In the family. I'll take the camera and put it on there so you can see it. And that is the poem, though it might be kind of hard to see. My style is a wandering, meandering style across. And the point of this poem was really interesting is so this, a lot of these poems are gratitude poems from the bride and groom. So in part, in the end, what I really wanted to end it with is that, this guy has this ranch is probably a little concerned about his business, like anybody else would be in the current climate. If his own family can't do their wedding there at the moment, or if they're going to be doing a smaller wedding or whatever it is. So I saw that, there's a mutual guiding that comes from that. There's a mutual kindness, there's a mutual benevolence to the planner at the ranch as well as the couple themselves. So I hope that rings true through the poem and will be something that he appreciates. It is risky, I'll tell you something. Doing street poetry, like these one-shots, is a risky business. And what I love to do is my favorite part of the experience is the actual reading of the poem. And I love reading the poem because it's the payoff for me. I get payoff because I get to see reactions. I get to take the words that I've crafted and I'll be able to get them, make them audibly crafted in a way as well so that people hear the poem in their head a certain way. They hear it in what I guess I would say is I think the correct way, but in a way which tries to pull the meaning from the placement of the words and the way they're designed. But when I'm working at a wedding or I'm doing one-shot commissions through the mail, I get no review. I get nothing. It is literally, I write these words, I think they're great. I don't know if they're great because I'm human and I'm fallible, and I send them out. Silence. And so there's a real risk to that. And I mean, it's exhilarating. It's like a roller coaster, It's like doing business, when you bet on a stock. It's like that. But I hope, but a lot of times they do land, so I can be confident in that. But and I also have you guys here to tell me that it's good or terrible. So you can throw angry emojis in the chat if I ever write something that's utterly heinous. But I think that that one kind of generally landed. So you can request poetry if you want. Fitzinated. I love that username. Fitzinated. Are we writing about usernames today? I'm thinking about writing about that username. It's a thing to write about usernames on the channel. Everybody's usernames is so interesting. I particularly want all the weird and random and crazy usernames on Twitch to come to my channel so that I can write about them. Fitzinated. I like it. Think about it. This poem is for the wedding coordinator at the ranch. Something fun and lighthearted, but being coordinator would be perfect. This one is going to be humorous because I know what it's funny. There's a what do you call it? Funny. I've heard some of the wedding planners and wedding coordinators and caterers particularly talk about what it's like on the job when they're actually doing all the wedding stuff, and they apparently it's chaos. Like, like you have this big event happening all at once, and everybody from the grandparents to the little kids all need something. Wedding coordinators, God bless them. Let's bring back our audio. Fitzinated says there are far better ones out there, but I think that one is great, and I just love being able to pull the weird meanings from all the little usernames. This all started when we had a Ketchup God 3000 come onto the stream, and we just went crazy with it. Typos, but not absolutely covering space. All right. Decrease typos, increase joy. This song actually always makes me a little weepy. Before the pandemic, Tabitha was my wife, Mrs. Poet, was working on doing a production of this show, the Wizard of Oz, with her kids at her school, and they were able to perform for the other kids in school. Like, they had a school assembly performance, but then they couldn't perform for the parents because of the cancelings of school. This is back in March. Goodness, what time has it done? A lot of time. Have to go to shop. See you all later. Thanks, Disco. Have a good shopping trip. I gotta get this right. So I think this has become one of my favorite metaphors, and I might not be wrong because you see this a lot. A lot of artists have been using this, but it's called kintsugi, the art of the Japanese art of when you repair a bowl that's cracked, filling the cracks with gold, that way making it more beautiful. I've heard this metaphor a couple of times, and I have more recently seen it uptick, and I just like, and it's something that keeps reappearing in my life. So I don't know if that's just me, but I think it's a thing. Endings. Why do I have so much trouble with endings? I've been having more trouble recently with endings. And I don't understand it. Oh. I had fun with this one, not gonna lie. Bring down our music. I feel like there's something on my webcam. Maybe that's a little clearer? Don't know. Keeping it together. Glue, they should call you. When plates are crashing and schedules colliding and babies crying and worlds are canceling everything. To coordinate, connect the dots when the dots are wild electrons moving among the atoms of unpredictable humans, you must be magic. The kintsugi master making gold appear in the chasms. Maybe it's just a kind word to soothe the troubled soul, or the wild orchestration to make all things whole. Whatever it is, whatever wildly wonderful voodoo magic makes you sane when the rest aren't. Keep it together. Keep it beautiful. Keep it you. I used the word wild 3 times in that poem. That is seriously making me think about retyping. Not because I don't think it works. It's just I don't like we're using a word 3 times. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. It's good. It's good with the word wild 3 times. Who am I kidding myself? It's fun. It's funky. It jumps around. It has a live beat to it. Now is like the part of the stream where I would say, hey, we're gonna go raid a brand new Just Chatting person. But I haven't really gotten a chance to check out a lot of Just Chatting channels. I tried checking one out a few nights ago. It was these 5 women. It was called the Real Housewives of Twitch, and it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't jive with me. They were discussing e-whoring, and I was like, what? What's this? So it got weird. So like I don't know. I haven't really figured out the Just Chatting side of Twitch. I've kind of started figuring out the writing side, though I just need to get more into it. The DJ side is like one big fantastic party. And then but then there's the weird Just Chatting side. Twitch Hero Alex, talk about planning, says, oh my goodness, my new microphone is finally shipped and on its way. It's only been 2 weeks since they took my money for it. Yeah, okay, I don't like people that take money and then not ship things. I think that Wish is pretty notorious for that. The Wish website, my wife orders a lot on there, and I think that there's a certain percentage of a success rate with Wish orders, and that to me just blows my mind. Like the fact that it's not a universal success rate. Just Chatting is really a catch-all. I feel like a lot of people get lost in there, both streamers and viewers. I agree. Well, I hope that the microphone gets there soon, Twitch or Alex. When it comes to Just Chatting, you're right. Like it's more like you got to find your particular niche in Just Chatting. Like I mean, there's a writer's niche in Just Chatting, though. I think that the Twitch Writers Network, one of the big goals is to get a writer-specific section. Yeah. But part of the problem with a writer-specific section is here's what I had trouble with the art-specific section is I went into art-specific and I started streaming there, and it was a total ghost town. And it was partially because not many people go to tune in specifically to art. They know that a lot of artists are just under Just Chatting. So I don't know if splitting off would be the best thing for the community, but at the same time, it would be good to have an identity on Twitch. I don't know. It's weird. And I got a microphone and can hop on a call with you today. My current mic just isn't that great. That's all right. As long as you kind of hear the voice, it's better than the phone mics. You know, they need to improve cell phone mics. I know that like sometimes I make phone calls with my Samsung phone, and if it's calling to another Samsung phone, it'll do like this high def calling, and it sounds like that person's in the room with me, and it's so beautiful. But not always. That doesn't always happen. Don't know why it doesn't always happen. So yeah, so it's interesting. So my goal will be, I'm not going to raid today. I'll raid sometime later this week, but my goal will be to raid a Just Chatting channel that I actually like, that is actually good and relevant, so that then I have the trifecta of community. I have Just Chatting, actual Just Chatting people. I have the DJs, which are awesome and create my 24/7 soundtrack. And then I have writing, and then we are good. And that way we can kind of just bounce. I can bounce between the 3 different groups. And I like that because I don't want to be just a writer's writer. Like I want to connect with the writing community. And I like that. But I've always done really well when I'm writing poems for ranch coordinators. an operations manager. Like those are the people that I want to be writing poetry for. So I like the idea of being able to bounce around different communities. The DJ community, I could write for DJs all day. I love being able to muse artistically on their artistic musings of beats and sounds and everything. It's so cool. It's just a good world. It's a good morning. It's a good Monday morning to be waking up and celebrating the universe. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you have been lurking or were in and then lurking, thank you so much. Thank you, Twitch or Alex, for always being so cool to be here. And yep, heck yeah, it is. It's a wonderful morning to be waking up in the universe. Fitzinated. One day we're gonna get a poem about being fitzinated. I feel like that's a verb, like it not a verb, but like an adjective. It's an adjective of description, like fitzinated definition, to be fitzed. I don't know. We will muse about your username when I don't have 9 poems to write. And then we had Disco in here, of course, and I did see David of Wind City Chess lurking at a certain point. So it's and then shout out to all the bots that are lurking. We love you, bots. All right, you guys all have a wonderful day. Really appreciate you tuning in, and see you all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.